You are listening to the Becoming the Wealthy You podcast with Jermaine Foley. If you're a woman who makes good money in your career or business, but you're not building wealth like you want to, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, you'll learn how to stop overspending, break free from the cycle of debt, save lots of cash, and become the wealthy woman you were born to be. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Becoming the Wealthy You podcast. We are in the middle of my Do Both Method series, and today we are talking about the very first pillar, which is vision. Now, if you missed episode number 146, which was released last week, I highly recommend after this episode you go back and listen, because that is where I gave you the overview of the Do Both method. I mentioned that the Do Both method, or you can do both, is not just a tagline. It is a complete system. It is a complete framework. And over the next several episodes, I will be walking you through an overview of what they are so that you can know exactly what I am working with my clients on inside of private coaching. And of course, if you want to be one of my private clients, you are invited to become one. And here's what I want you to know. My private coaching is for women who make six figures or close to it. So you may be making six figures, multiple six figures, or very close to it in your business or your career. So you've got the income. You might even be maxing out your 401k, maybe investing regularly. And you've got some savings, maybe several thousand or 10K. Maybe you've got that. And on paper, everything looks amazing. It looks great. You may even have a fully funded emergency fund. But here's what's missing. Your spending and your credit card debt might feel a little out of control. It's just a totally different story. You swipe when you're bored. You swipe because you're feeling overwhelmed. You swipe because it feels like the one thing that's just for you. You're constantly taking care of everyone at work, at home, your family, your team, your clients. And that little moment of shopping gives you a dopamine hit and a rush of comfort. And it's just for you. It's the thing that you can control. And you might be like, okay, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I deserve it. I'm going to treat myself. But then the dopamine fades. The boxes arrive. They're piled up on your porch and you don't even remember what's in them. And maybe you don't even have the energy to open them to see what it is. And that excitement has long gone. So that is where you are. You've got a lot of things working well for you. But remember, part of the Do Both method is conquering or mastering the 5 core areas of money. So that's going to come in a later episode within the series. But I want to give you a peek at that right now. That's income, spending, debt, savings, and investing. So you may have 3 out of the 5 that are working well, but if you don't have all 5, then you're not going to build wealth. There's a leaky hole in your money system, right? There's a leaky hole that is preventing you from building wealth. And so if spending and credit card debt are things that you find yourself stuck in, you have 2 leaky holes in your bucket that are preventing you from actually building wealth. Okay. So this may look like you pay it off with your bonus check. You rack up the credit card debt, maybe 10K, 20K. And then you like, okay, I got to pay this off. So when you get a bonus, a commission check, or maybe sign a big client, you pay it off. But then you run it right back up again. You may even borrow from your 401k or other investments, or use 0% interest transfers to kind of clean it up, and you feel like you did something. But guess what? That is a slippery slope and a really big trap that a lot of women fall into, because then they end up in double the debt or sometimes triple the debt. And before you know it, there you are again. It's like, how am I here again? If that is you, you are exactly who I help. Because you're probably telling yourself, I'm not that bad. I save, I invest, I make a lot of money. I'll just pay it off. I'll just pay it off with my next bonus. So all of those thoughts are justifying the behaviors, right? But deep down, there's a part of you that know that you aren't okay, right? Because there, again, those two holes, those two leaky holes are preventing you from really thriving the way you know you could be because of the amount of money that you make. And listen, it's not just about money, because at the end of the day, you can continue to live like this. But what it really is about is what the debt and the overspending are really costing you. It's costing you your peace of mind because you're thinking about it. You know there's something off. You constantly are beating yourself up, figuring out how you're going to pay off this debt that you just racked up. It's costing you the freedom and also the future that you want. And that is a lot of what we're going to talk about today. If this sounds like you, I want to invite you to do something different. Every month, I open up just a few spots to take on new private coaching clients. Most people wait to January to start fresh. But the truth is, finishing the year strong is way more powerful than starting over again in January. Momentum is everything. So I am inviting you to close this quarter with intention, to close the year with intention like you've never done before. You'll enter the new year already in motion, light years ahead of where you were last year. And it all starts with booking a wealth building strategy consultation. This is a complimentary consultation where we'll look at where you are in the 5 core areas of money. That's income, spending, debt, saving, and investing. What's working, what's not working, and what's keeping you stuck. You'll walk away with clarity on your next steps. And if it's a fit, we'll talk about what it will look like to work together so that I can support you, guide you, and help you to plug those leaky holes so that you can do the things that you really want to do in life. And that is, again, what we're going to talk about in this episode, which is vision, right? I know some of you, deep down, you have a vision for what you want your life to look like. But the spending and the credit card debt, here's some tough love. They are what's preventing you from doing it. Because yeah, you're saving. Yeah, you're maxing out your 401k or contributing a good amount. But the real wealth that you could be building is stifled because of your overspending and because of the credit card debt that you constantly find yourself in. So if you want one of those spots, don't delay. You can go to jermainefoley.com/consult and book your consultation today. We'll get on Zoom and look at how I can help you to plug those leaky holes and to create a vision for your life that is going to help you to live exactly the way you truly want to deep down inside. Okay, now let's dive into today's episode. So last week, we talked about the Do Both method, my signature framework that helps you build wealth and enjoy life at the same time. Remember, this is more than a tagline. It is a system. It is a framework, and it is made up of 5 visible pillars and 1 invisible element. So the first pillar is vision, and that is what we're going to talk about today because it gives your life and your money direction. The second one is value-based spending, and that is what we're going to cover next week. The third pillar is emotional money management. The fourth pillar is mastering the 5 core areas of money, and I already mentioned those to you, but in a few weeks, we're going to dive deeper into that. And then the fifth pillar is having a system for your money that works for you in the background where you're not relying on willpower to make good choices with your money. And then the invisible element is identity. That's the mindset and self-concept shifts that will happen while you're practicing this framework that is going to make it all stick permanently. It will become just who you are and how you handle your money as you put this framework, this system into practice. Okay, so today we're starting at the top with vision. Vision is what gives you something to aim for. Without it, you just keep living the same life over and over and over again on rinse and repeat. When we were younger, oh my gosh, we dreamed automatically. We thought about college. We thought about what we wanted to major in. We thought about marriage. We thought about our careers, right? We were always dreaming and striving for the next thing. But once we've checked all those boxes, most women, we stop dreaming. And we focus on raising the kids, hitting work goals, managing everything for everyone else, but we stop thinking about what we really want. And when you stop having a vision for your life, you stop growing. you drift. And this is not God's best for you. This is not what we human beings are designed to do. We are not designed to stay stuck, to not dream, to not grow, to not evolve. Think about a tree. A tree is not designed to just exist. It is designed to produce leaves, to grow, to change colors, to get bigger. I mean, we have trees on our property that we planted 5 years ago, and they have grown. Every year they produce leaves. And then we have one that is really, really old that's in the backyard that was here before we moved here, that we literally just cut down because it was dead. It was not producing any leaves, and it was actually causing us problems, right? So if we can think of ourselves like trees, we were born to grow. We were born to evolve. We were born to not just exist, right? That is what human beings are here for. But for so many of us, we stop growing. And that is when we start doing something called buffering, right? Buffering is something that you do to fill a void. Because the void is there because you're not growing, you're not evolving, you're not feeling fulfilled. Some people buffer with social media, some people buffer with food. But for you and me and my audience, the women that I am here to help, we buffer with spending. We buffer with shopping. So again, that is when the spending creeps in as the one way to bring excitement back into your life. And listen, it's not about the stuff, because you can get stuff delivered to your house. It'll just pile up on the porch and you do nothing with it. It just sits there. You don't even remember what it is. The excitement is gone. But in the moment, you felt excited. You felt like, yes, this is what I want. It gave you that hit of dopamine that you're craving, right? And so when you're not getting steady, healthy streams of fulfillment and dopamine throughout your life, through living your purpose, to having goals, to having a vision for your life, for accomplishing things, then you're looking for that false pleasure where you get those quick hits of dopamine that hit you hard, but then they fade away, right? We don't want to use that as our way of living life or as our way of getting fulfillment. So when I see women overspending, even women who make six figures and are investing and saving, I know that the issue isn't knowledge. It's not a lack of discipline. It is a lack of vision. It is a lack of fulfillment. Because if you don't know what you're building, if you don't know what you're aiming for, your money will always find somewhere to go. So let's talk about what vision really is. Vision is simply a dream for what you want your life to look like, the next phase and the phases beyond. It's not like a goal or a number. It's a picture that actually moves you. It's emotionally charged. It's the thing that keeps you making smart choices with your money, even when you don't feel like it. For me, here's my vision. You've heard it many times. Number one was to send my kids to college debt-free. I am in the middle of doing that right now. Number two, helping them to have a down payment for their first home. Again, all of these things that I want to do came from my own experience. And I'm like, okay, if I can set my kids up, the next generation up, to not have to deal with the hardships financially that I had to deal with, I know that I will have made a mark on my next generation and beyond, right? My kids' generation and beyond. And then the other thing I want to do is fund my grandkids' college fund as soon as they're born so that my children don't have to think about it ever again. So you put a lump sum in and let it grow for 18 years. And then voila, when it's time for them to go to college, they're ready to go. So that's my vision. It's what keeps me motivated when my spending and everything else wants to go out of whack, right? When things are hard, when I'm bored, I know that I can do some damage with credit cards. I know that I can do some damage with my debit card. I know that I can buy up some stuff, but I have put boundaries in place because of my vision, right? So I have learned how to have boundaries for my spending. I have protocols for my spending. I have rules for when I spend, how much I spend, because my vision is so strong. Now, your vision might be totally different from mine, right? You might want to retire when you're 50 or 55 or be work optional at least. You may want to take time off to travel with family. You may want to take a sabbatical, a whole year off from work and then return when you're well rested and ready. That might be your vision. You may want to step away from full-time work Again, when you're 50, 55 years old, so that you can work on your passion projects. Maybe you'll work part-time. Maybe you're open to making less money because you have so much wealth built and you can do what lights you up. Or maybe for you, it's just having the freedom to make choices that are not determined by money, right? Money is not the deciding factor if you can do something or not. You want options, you want freedom, and you want choices. But let me tell you something, you cannot have any of that without clarity. These things will not happen on their own. You have to have a vision, a clear vision of what you want, and you have to be emotionally in touch with that vision. That vision has to make you feel something. Because here's the thing, most women fall into two categories when it comes to vision. The first is the vague vision. They'll say, it'll be nice if I could retire early, or I'd love to take a year off someday. I'd love to work on my passion project. Like I'm really passionate about this thing here, and I would love to just be able to spend my time doing that. But listen, that's not a vision, that's a wish. There's no emotional pull to actually make it real at all. The second group is the no vision zone, right? They'll say, goals, I don't really have any. You're just on autopilot, taking care of everyone else, working hard, not creating anything that's just for you. You don't even have a vision for what you want your life to look like a year from now, let alone 5 or 10 years from now. And here's the thing about these two types of vision. Both will lead to the same result. You stay stuck. Because when there's no strong vision pulling you forward, you will fill that space with short-term pleasure instead of long-term progress. Remember what I said about the trees? We are like the trees. We were meant to grow. We were meant to evolve. We were meant to live a fulfilling, purposeful life that is not just about other people, that is not just about taking care of others, but also taking care of ourselves. And when we're not doing that, we will get the dopamine, the pleasure from something. And usually for us, it's through spending. It's through credit card debt. And it creates a leaky hole in your wealth building bucket that you might think is, oh, I just have those two things that are out of whack. You need all 5 areas of money working for you in order to really build wealth. And having a vision for what you want your life to be like can give you the motivation to have all 5 areas of money working for you, right? So if you find yourself with a leaky hole, maybe it's debt, maybe it's lack of savings, maybe it's lack of investing, maybe it's lack of control over your spending, then I want you to ask yourself, do I have a vision for what I want my life to look like? 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be no. And if you do say yes, then are you emotionally involved in that vision? Do you believe that you can actually make it happen? And here's what I want you to know. Most of you, if you're making 6 figures, multiple 6 figures or close to it, yes, you have what it takes. You have the ingredients that you need to live the life that you dream of. But you got to let yourself dream, and you have to let yourself believe that it's possible. And if you're one of the women that I'm put here to serve, making, like I said, 6 figures or beyond or close to it, you have what it takes. So yes, your vision is possible for you. So let's get really clear on what it is so you can make it a reality. And when you do that, it is going to be the driving force that makes everything else work, that makes everything else click, because you have a vision, you have a why, you have a strong force driving you forward. So if what I'm saying is resonating with you, you're like, oh my gosh, Jermaine, yes, that is exactly who I am. I'm making the money, I'm investing, so I feel like I'm not that bad, right? I have some savings, so I'm telling myself, you're not as bad as some of the others. But listen, we want to move from being not that bad to being amazing, right? And so I want you to know, if that's you, you're not alone. It's actually normal. This is how normal adults live, without a vision, without a strong drive for what they want their lives to look like. But my question to you is, do you want to be like normal adults? I know I don't. But for some of you, you might be like, yeah, I'm okay with how it is right now. I don't need to dream. I don't need more. I'm good. I want to keep overspending. I want to keep finding myself stuck in the cycle of credit card debt. I pay it off. I figure it out. Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah, I know I should be further along. I know I could be further along. I know that I'm not going to be able to do a lot of the things that I really want to do, but I'm okay with that. If that's you, that's fine. But some of you, that's not okay. For some of you, it's just not okay. It's not fine. And you are who I really, really want to help. And remember, all you have to do is book a wealth building strategy consultation, and we can talk about how we can get you moving in the right direction. And you can book your call by going to jermainefoley.com/consult. That's Jermaine with a G, foley.com/consult. Now remember, these calls are for women who make six figures, multiple six figures, or very close to it in their career or business. And the reason why I say this is because, and the reason why I specify this is because you are uniquely positioned to build wealth and truly enjoy your life now and in the future, because you have the income, the ingredients to do so. But maybe you have that one piece. Remember, there are 5 core areas of money. Income is just one piece, but maybe the other 4 are out of whack, or maybe 2 out of the other 4 are out of whack. And so you've got leaky holes in your wealth building bucket, and we need to plug them so that you can truly live the life that you want. And so don't let the thought, I'm not that bad, rob you of what's possible, right? Because that thought, I'm not that bad, it will keep you living a very mediocre, just okay life. And you can have so much more than that. Now, when you really look at the Do Both method, the 5 pillars, remember, vision is one of the first things that we have to work on. And this is where we start inside of coaching. Because when your vision is alive, it keeps you motivated through the entire process. It literally becomes the thread that ties everything together. I want you to think of like holding on to a rope. Like if you're playing tug of war, or like you're holding on to the rope and there's something on the other side of the rope kind of pulling you forward. That is your vision. The thing on the other side of the rope is your vision, and it's nudging you forward. It's like giving you the momentum so you don't have to work as hard, because that vision is pulling you. As you take action, as you do the work, it's also pulling you so you're not working as hard. I hope that visual helps, because it really helps me. It's like, okay, I need something on the other side of the rope pulling me as I work towards my goals. And that's what vision does. It gives you the motivation, the stick with itness to keep going. It's really the thing that pulls you forward when willpower and discipline just isn't enough, because as humans, we have a very limited amount of willpower. And so your vision of what your life is going to look like, what you're working for, your why, that will keep you going, even when willpower runs out. Okay. So every client I work with in my private coaching, we start with vision. We start with dreaming. We start with, where do you want to be a year from now? And then 5 years from now, and we keep going. So take a moment today and ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like just 1 year from now? What would change if I believed that this vision was possible for me? Because once your vision is clear, your money naturally starts to align. Your behaviors, how you act with money, how you spend your money, what you do with your money, then all of those things start to align. So if you know that your income is there, but your spending and debt are keeping you stuck, stop waiting for someday. You're invited to take action today. Every month, again, I open up a few spots for new clients inside of my private coaching program, and those spots do fill up. So if you want one of them, your first step is to book a wealth building strategy consultation at jermainefoley.com/consult. Remember, don't wait for January. This is your moment to finish the year strong so you can enter the year full of momentum, confidence, and completely in control. And listen, for some of you, this is going to be the first time that you start the year on fire and not like, oh, okay, I'm behind. I need to get my money together. And then again, going through the motions of fizzling out by the end of January. And then you're just in that same cycle again. Like, we want to just stop all of that. And this is how we'll do it. So I'm inviting you not to wait for January. This is your moment to finish the year strong so that you can step into the new year filled with financial confidence, feel like you're in control of your money, and finally on track to have your wealthiest year yet, where you can build wealth and enjoy your life throughout 2026 and beyond. So I'll see you next week for Pillar 2, which is all about value-based spending, where we'll talk all about how to align your money with what truly matters to you. All right, I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if money is the one area of life you just can't seem to figure out, even though you make good money, you're not alone. That's why you're invited to book a complimentary one-to-one money consultation with me so that we can figure out how to solve your biggest money challenges. To sign up, simply go to jermainefoley.com/consult or check out the show notes. Hope to meet you soon.